Blog Talk Radio.
Are you calling in?
Here at ACO Radio, American Communications Online, or any affiliated stations or websites are not responsible for what guest hosts or call-ins may say. All programming is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Hello, world. Welcome aboard, all you ground troops spinning around smartly on the planet. We're back. We're excited to have you. We're going to ask you all to welcome other people that we're meeting new. We're forming American Communications Online, a community and cyberspace culture together with ACO Club and Richard T. Knight. And he will be here anytime. And he's invited a new person to join us. Her name is Marci Kosich. I hope I'm saying that right. And I put a little picture of Richard and Marci Kosich in our slideshow today on our blogtalkradio.com. If you're listening, all you bloggers out there, all you blog talk people. And I know in spirituality, you guys like to have us do readings, and we're going to do those tomorrow. But today, I'd like to get to know Richard better. We've only been speaking, I believe, since 2021, after 2020. You know, hindsight's 2020. And we've been here many, many times as radio host for Blog Talk Radio, and we have introduced a lot of events, a lot of speakers at these events, and a lot of authors, and we're going to get back involved again since this is after the year 2020. So we're going to say that hindsight is 2020 and invite others to join us on our radio shows. And Wednesdays, we're going to see if we can hold the energy with other people talking about metaphysics. So we're inviting all you metaphysicians, and we're going to do our best to incorporate some new co-hosts that actually aren't new to Blog Talk. But let me see if this is Richard Knight or Marci. Hi, is this Richard or Marci? No? Just listening? Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Hold on. Yes. Who?
I'm sorry. I thought you were having readings tonight.
Oh, well, we can maybe. Let me.
No.
No. Okay. I'd start tomorrow night. This is going to be for those of you that are growing in your spiritual growth. And Richard T. Knight has invited Marci Kosich. So we're going to catch up on all your talents and skills tonight. So, Richard, I did hear you somewhere. Are you out there in the ethers?
Yes, I most assuredly am.
Oh, good. Okay, somebody answered your call. Interesting. I don't see your friend Marci, but go ahead, Richard, if you don't mind. You've done radio for years. Introduce yourself if you don't mind. Help me out here.
All right. My name is Dr. Richard T. Knight. I am a theologian, a religious scientist, a metaphysician, and a doctorate in divinity. I came into this world completely awakened with a memory of exactly who I am and where I came from. My disconnect or memory loss in being in cooperation or connectedness with the source of all, Mother and Father God, or whatever term that you want to use, to divine a higher source than ourselves. I have been a savant of language since the age of 5. I was abducted by aliens at the age of 5. They put a tracking device in my nose, which remained there until I physically had it surgically removed at the age of 35. So I have been aware with 14 senses. I do paranormal investigations. My life has been an enclave of all kinds of supernatural, paranormal, spiritual, spirit-filled adventures, encounters, etc., etc., etc. And, of course, now I am 65 years young, so I've been at this for 60 years, believe it or not. I have read the Tarot for over 50 years. I started reading the Tarot when I was 12. I also do channeling. I have channeled poetry. I have channeled advice to others. I have even incorporated the voices of other given individuals, be they spirit beings from other realms or spirit beings from other dimensions, ascended masters, and even occasionally a wise one from a dimension that they have not defined specifically. Then the metaphysical movement since around 1960, well, actually around 65, because at 60 I was only 5 years out, but anyway, in 65, at the age of 10, I began doing psychic interventions. I began doing all kinds of different things. I became involved with a group that was named the Temple in the Stars, which met at San Jose Community College, and we would meet in their music room, and there we would have all kinds of guests from all different paths of the paranormal and supernatural, and even spiritual paths and metaphysical paths of all kinds that would put on all kinds of venues for us in regards to making presentations. And then in turn, we as a group, probably about maybe a third of us, would meet at the coffee house afterwards and discuss what we had been presented to us and ask each other questions and gain understanding therefrom and all that kind of good stuff. Died and came back in the physical when I was 14. I was legally dead for 33 minutes. I went before the face of God, one could say. At least that's what I had been programmed to believe God would look like. And, of course, he showed me the book of life and detailed that, I had promised to do a lot of things in life and had not accomplished them. So, therefore, I needed to come back here. And the one thing that I had asked as a favor of God was to show me who and what I truly am, at which time I was allowed to step consciously out of my spiritual self and look back upon my spiritual self, and I was nothing more than an aurora borealis sphere of light and energy, and that is what was housing my consciousness. And therefore, when I came back down into the body had not been sewn closed. The nurse was putting a tag on my big toe, and she screamed and fainted. Fortunately, there was another nurse in the room, and I was surgically closed, but I could tell them exactly what had been taken from me, and it was a plum-shaped ganglion growth that had about 6 ganglion tentacles coming out of it, and if I had not had the surgery that particular day, which I had basically portrayed the symptoms of a burst appendix, basically I would have died in a few days anyway, because the last and longest tentacle was very only a small amount of millimeters away from my heart and would have strangled my heart. So anyway, I have had all kinds of supernatural paranormal events occur to me. I have been a guest at Psychic Fairs. I have put on teaching sessions of the mystical Judaic system called the Kabbalah. I have written numerous articles for all kinds of philosophical magazines, including those that center on the paranormal. I am, of course, from California, and as most of you may know, the Californians live very, very fast. So I went into business for myself at the age of 19 as a private investigator, and I had federal, state, county, and city credentials, and I have been an advocate in regards to upholding the truth and presenting justice for all of those that were pushed down in the system or stepped upon by the system. I have also done spiritual counseling. I have been an ordained minister with Universal Life Church since the age of 19, and I have been an ordained bishop with the Holy See of the United States on behalf of the Egyptian Coptic Church of Egypt. The Eastern Orthodox Coptic Church of Egypt. Getting tongue-tied here a bit. But anyway, I am an established author. I'm an established poet. I have all of the clair gifts, so I am clair omniscient. I see things, I hear things, I can interact with spirits, I foresee the future as a psychic, I channel people, both those that have passed over, and of course, as I've indicated, higher beings of intellect and higher beings in other dimensions, and so overall, my life has been amazing, because it seems like now I have already completed 3 chapters, and I now begin the fresh slate of chapter 4. And so graciously, I am honored to know TJ, and we have now become Pastor Theresa and Pastor Rich, since we just recently founded the Ascension Church of Ohana this past Sunday. And so we threw the doors open wide and and in lots of different dimensions that no other church has ever embraced in the past. So anyway, that's an amazing thing in and of itself. And, of course, if you're interested in becoming a member of our ACO club, then, of course, you can join us on Patreon. That's patreon.com, where you can find memberships to participate in all kinds of different things. And it's very, very financially affordable. It's only $2 a month. And it goes up from there depending on, whether you be an artist, whether you be an author, whether you be a metaphysician, whether you be a scientist, or any particular walk of life. We embrace all persons of all trades and all skills. And we are a scientifically, educationally based foundation and association of individuals. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm kind of a Renaissance man, more or less. I'm highly skilled in a lot of different areas, including law enforcement, including military law, including OSHA law, including OSHA inspections, all kinds of different determinants in regards to different paths and traditions of the martial arts, of which I have devoted 30 years of my life to the study and apprenticeship and ascension to black belt in four different venues. And as far as open-mindedness, I have been I've done service for all kinds of different people, all the way from the very top echelon all the way down to those who are absolutely homeless. It just depends as spirit moves, as they say, or as according to all by the will of God, as I like to look at it. Anyway, I am also a Reiki Grandmaster. I do heal in 5 different techniques of Reiki, which includes angelic Reiki, Usai Reiki, which is Chinese-based, Tibetan Reiki, of course, which is Tibetan-based, and then also, in addition to that, Reiki with the Grandmasters and the Ascended Masters, and then basically something that I have yet to put a label on, other than the fact to say that it's kind of a gift that's granted by the Holy Spirit and the divine consciousness of God, where basically a person becomes instantaneously healed. So, I think that pretty much gives a good rundown of who I am and where I'm coming from. Back to you, TJ.
Okay. Now, was I supposed to call Marci, or is she going to call in so she can participate?
Marci is of the perception, that she's allowing us to introduce the show, introduce ourselves, introduce the topic of the day, and so forth. And so I basically suggested that she call in approximately half past the hour so that she would not interrupt our introduction and where the theme of the day is and all that we're intending to cover topic-wise and so forth.
All right. So Awakening the Ascension and Ascension Age Movement is what we're hopefully going to be about in 2021. And just to discuss some basic news, which we'll do weekly on the beginning show, which is Wednesday. And I really wasn't aware I was going to be doing Wednesdays again. I thought it was just going to be Richard and I on Sundays, and it's grown. And we were going to have Susan Wyman on Thursdays and our UFO business with Jan Aldrich and others on Friday with Center for UFO Studies, which J. Allen Hynek started, and I met him on a plane. So I'm very curious to see what develops in 2021 with others in the American Communications Online, a holding company, like Richard said, on Patreon. But we figured out a way to help people join so they don't all have to pay larger sums for various software, because we're going into, which I just learned today, after a rough day yesterday, traveling, helping others, and I apologize to all of you radio host, co-host, clergy, or metaphysicians that were going to join me yesterday, and I will send out an official email because I got stranded with other people and left my cell phones at home, and it was like being in another world or going back in time. I'm sure some of you folks that are baby boomers and of the Blu-ray can remember being without phones. It's quite interesting. And in the day, we had at least phones on the corners you could go to, but believe it or not, when I was a child, I could remember phone numbers, but I've noticed that now that I use a cell phone, I don't know how many of you are out there, but I don't use the memory codes we learned in schools to maintain numbers. So The news of the week is, wow, we are in change. We're going to program ourselves differently. Our memories will get